me holy ground. This was the most holy and the most sacred place that I ever stood in all my life. Because as a gang boy that could slash your throat with a razor, smash your face with a bicycle chain, could put you in hospital for weeks, to come to a place like this and find that great moment of truth when God told me He loved me and Christ died for me. This will always be holy ground to me.
In addition to English and French, Bill Gilvear is fluent in Lingala and Swahili, two African languages he learned while working as a missionary nurse in the Belgian Congo during its civil war.
Well, they're taking you away as a prisoner. Prisoner, what's the charge? Says you're a Belgian spy. Says you're willing for the galley, get a Belgian spy. I says Scotch broth in the Congo, hurry up and get it over.
Bill survived his ordeal, but then he'd learnt survival in his early days in the razor gangs of Glasgow's East End. This area of Denison has been almost entirely demolished. You must remember a very different place when you were fighting here in the 40s.
Oh, very different, because all this was tenements. Children in and about the street playing their games of kick can and peaver, all the street games, full of life, full of families. And to see it now there like this is quite something. And also, this is the area where some of the gang fighting took place. When we used to get the signal that the Santoy were coming up from here, from Parkhead, some of our boys would be in the outlook, watching for where they come. And then we would hear the cry, "The toy, the toy!" And then we would shout, "The stick-it boys, get ready!" And then we would all get ready. We would all gather round, watch for them, and then just the signal from our gang leader, he would say, "Right boys, charge!" And we'd go in, and we would attack them and fight the battle. Even in areas like this where we are today.
How did you prepare for this gang warfare?
The special feature to the Stick-it gang was we used razor blades. You see these razor blades here? Well, all we done was we bent them over like that, see? And we split it in two, see? And that gave you two parts of an open razor. And we had these caps, and watch this, you see? We put it right into the edge of the cap, like that, see? And then this other part went into that edge along here, see, like that.
So did you lace the cap with those blades?
We laced the cap with those blades, and when we took the cap off, we just woof, right across your throat.
So you would take your cap off and...
Take the cap off and just flick it across, and they were cut from there to there. It was a lethal thing. And then inside our jacket pocket, a big heavy pocket, we had this bicycle chain. We got that chain, and we just wielded it right across the face of the Santoy. We got close enough to them.
Were you ever responsible for murder?
Never, no, never. And as I look,
but you could have been.
Oh, quite easily, because if that razor with a flick with a cap had got the jugular vein, that was it. Oh, quite easily. And as I look back, I thank God that it never happened to me, because I could have killed one of the boys.
But not all his gang friends were so fortunate. One Stick-it boy ended up on the gallows, and many found themselves behind bars. 46 years on, Bill too is familiar with jail life, but for very different reasons. This visit is to speak to the Christian Fellowship at Greenock Prison.
Thank you very much, Rick. When I was a boy, Benny Lynch won the World Flyweight Champions at Sheffield, and I stayed in Cumney Park Street off the Gallagate, and his auntie stayed in Cumney Park Place. And the night he won the Flyweight Championship, he came out, oh, it was a riot, a big street party, and water getting thrown out the windows because of the noise and everything.
Those Cumleybank Street tenements have long gone, making way for modern flats. But there are still one or two architectural landmarks from his childhood.
Well, it's just over here that I was born, in Cumney Park Street, just a stone's throw from this bridge. There was 7 of us in a little room and kitchen. I used to say first up in the morning, best dressed. But that's where we spent our boyhood days.
So 9 altogether, counting your mum and dad?
That's right, yes.
This was one of your playgrounds, this pedestrian bridge here?
Absolutely. Sword Street Bridge was a famous place for us to play, and especially we had a game called the girders. And we would race from one end of this bridge to the other with the girders.
Along the girders?
Yes.
What else did you do around here?
Well, we got up to what you called catching hudges, jumping dikes and in and out the middens. The idea of catching a hudges was getting a free ride in the back of a lorry.
A moving lorry?
A moving lorry. And then when it came to the corner, slow down, we'd jump up. And the jumping the dikes and in and out the middens was that we raked the middens, because in the middens we would find bottles and bits and pieces, take them to the pubs and get pennies and halfpennies and buy the big caramels on them. We were out and about the whole time. Out and about the whole time. See, there was nothing in the house. There was no radios, no television. So it was in the streets you'd spent most of your time.
Bill's father died when he was 10, and as the oldest son, he was responsible for earning whatever money he could from a variety of odd jobs. This put paid to all school attendance and any chance of an education. But if it was hard on Bill, it was worse for his mother.
It really was hard. She was away so long and for such long times, people began to report her. We don't know who it was reported her for neglect, and the Prevention of Cruelty to Children officers came, and that was tragic. And that really nearly killed her, broke her heart. Because if she hadn't been away all day, we wouldn't have had a home. And we wouldn't have had anything to eat. Because you see, all her wages could do was pay the factor and give her something to eat. Everything else, the clothes and everything that I've told you, were given to us by what we call the parish of public assistance. So she said, well, in that case, I'll get a lodger in. He'll look after you, and he'll pay the rent, and I'll look after you. But in with that lodger came the curse of my beloved city of Glasgow, Johnny Walker and his pals. I saw my mother getting beatings on a Friday and a Saturday night from smash, everything got from one father. When he got a drink, that's when his problem was. He was all right if he didn't have a drink, but when he got a drink on him, he was really bad. My mother was often left black and blue with him. He was cruel. And it was a frightening experience, because we'd never known anything like that in our life before.
Right then, fellas, good to see you here tonight, and really want to tell you now just a little bit about our main guest tonight. One of Glasgow's characters, so that is one of Glasgow's Christian characters. And we're really privileged to have him here tonight, delighted in fact that he's here tonight with us. I want to introduce to you fellas, and maybe you'll give him a warm welcome, Mr. Bill Gilvear. Good to have him here in the jail, and I hope you're impressed with the way he looks, but we're not going to leave him, and he's going to chat to you now for the next few minutes. Good to have you, Bill.
Well, it's great to be back, fellas.
But Bill wouldn't have been speaking to prisoners anywhere without an earlier encounter in Glasgow's Tent Hall. It had been built to continue the work which had been started by American evangelists Moody and Sankey, literally in a large tent on Glasgow Green. By the 1930s, it was a major Christian centre in the east end of the city.
The very first time I was ever there, we were invited to what they called the Christmas treat for the poor children in Glasgow. We couldn't believe it, because we got tickets for nothing and something for nothing in those days. It was fantastic. So we ran away down the Gallagate, way down Salt Market, into Steel Street, hundreds of us. And the Springburn Salvation Army band playing the carols, and a big Christmas tree all lit up. The platform was covered with all kinds of gifts, and then we heard the Christmas story, and then they gave us a feast, and then at the end all the lights went out except the Christmas tree light, and Santa Claus appeared for the balcony with his bugle and his rat, and we were all screaming and shouting, excited as can be. We'd never been in this like in our life. And
Had you ever seen Santa Claus before?
Never. And Santa Claus came away down and walked right round the hall, went up to the platform and gave Mr. Jock Troop, the superintendent, a hug. And then he says, boys and girls, going out the door tonight, not only am I going to give you a toy, but I'm going to give you a slice of my granny's dumpling, which is cloth dumpling. I don't know if you have a big, thick slice of cloth and a toy. And we walked up the Gallagher as if we won the place, because we had never had anything like that in our life before, can you imagine? And when we got home, we had terrific stories to tell one mother. Then, the next time, because in the Gallagher, fresh air, what's that? Birds, what are they? Flowers, I never seen them.
No trees, no
Fresh
birds.
air, nothing. So, I mean, when you're spending your day catching hudgies, jumping dikes and into middens, you don't see much of that. And again, we couldn't afford the holiday. But this man, George Iron Stewart from the Tent Hall, who ran what he called the Fresh Air Fortnight Fund, came to our home in the Gallagher. He said, you're all going on holiday. He said, you're kidding, mister. We can't even afford a tram ride to Root. What are we talking about? I said, yes, you're all going on holiday. And you know, good to his word, he took us all to a beautiful home in Shandon, near Helensburgh. Took all those parish clothes off us and gave us lovely new clothes. And the nice belts for our trousers, you know, with the snake buckle in different colours. And he gave me blue and white because I was a Ranger supporter. And we thought, this must be heaven. This must be God's angel, because he had lovely white hair, Mr. Stewart. Because in the Gallagher you had to fight to live, and this man never seen us before, and he was just loving us. Just doing what the Lord says, by this shall all men know you're my disciples, when you have love one for another. Well, it was a long, long time after, you know, I was already a gang boy by this time, when a family came to stay near where we were staying, who knew my father. They said, what about it? I suppose I do owe him something. They gave me my first Christmas gift, they gave me my first holiday. But don't let this holy joke and verse stuff, a lot of rubbish. Hey, do you come? So I went along, and they were having a gospel campaign under the late Mr. Seth Sykes.
Seth Sykes was a Glasgow tram conductor whose impact on working-class Christian life was such that it's earned him and his wife Eva a permanent place in the People's Palace on Glasgow Green. Both he and Eva were gifted speakers and musicians with a popular touch, and composed many children's choruses which are still sung today. With growing demands on his time, he left the trams to become a full-time evangelist.
And he was a man who could speak the language that we boys in the Gallagher could understand. And that night, boy, did he ever tell us that God loved us and Christ died for us. Not only that, his wife sang the story in the big lantern illustrated screen. And that night he preached his heart out. So the folks that brought me said, come on, Willie, come on down and speak to him. I didn't want to, but they persuaded me to go into the wee vest at the end, and I spoke to him. I said, Mr. Sykes, goes away all here in the clouds. He's no interest in me. He's no time for me. He says, that's what you think. You know what he done, fellas? He took me to John chapter 3, verse 16, and he put my name in it. He said, for God so loved Willie Gilvear, that he gave Willie Gilvear his only begotten son, that if Willie Gilvear will believe in him, Willie Gilvear will not perish, but Willie Gilvear will have eternal life. He says, it was for you the Saviour died. And nobody had ever shown me it in such a personal way like that before. And he says, Willie, son, what will you do with Jesus? You know, take him home with you. I took him home with me, fellas.
And following that moment of truth, Bill's life was dramatically changed. He managed to leave the gang and became increasingly committed to the work of the Tent Hall, the Sunday morning free breakfast for those sleeping rough in Glasgow's parks, and work with other young people with the then youth leader Peter Donald.
You remember Willie Brown had a background where he was boozed every night.
That's right.
And he had a marvellous conversion. He was completely changed. And in the army he was a fighter.
That's right.
He was a boxer.
Boxing champion.
That's right.
So he knew the kind of thing I came from.
And you, amongst others, asked a lot of important questions when you were young. Some may have been too proud to ask, but you gave me quite a lot of things to work on.
Beset by colossal repair bills and the transfer of local people to the outlying housing schemes, the tent hall finally closed in 1979. It remains a listed building and for a few years was used by the YMCA, but for a long time it's been derelict. No one's been in the building for 7 years, until now.
Well, what a mess, eh? Look at it, all boarded up. Tragic. Oh, dear. That's absolutely terrible. 10 years since I've been here. Oh, dear.
Bill, I'm just going to put on this torch. It's pretty dark here. Watch your head here when you come. Hold my hand.
Thank you. That's fine.
I'm sorry about all this debris. Just kick through this wood. Right, through this Here we come. You manage?
Yeah, that's fine, thanks.
Are you all right?
Yeah. Ooh, dear. Tragic, absolutely tragic. Unrecognisable. Oh, isn't that amazing? Look, I still got the text up on the wall. Come unto me, all ye that labour on the left, and see that that's the blood of Jesus Christ, God's. That's amazing. That's the platform. Where that helmet was a platform. And that was when God spoke to me. And then, this is a place where I got my valedictory service when I went to Africa. And this
What was that? That was when you became a missionary?
Yeah, they gave me a big valedictory service. And you know what they done? They had there's a hall, see where these stairs, there's a hall over there. So they will have it in the back hall. And you know what happened? So many people came. That's the first time I've ever known it happen. While they were singing the first hymn, they had all come marching in here. There were so many came. And then my wedding was something else.
In here?
I'll never forget it. There was more at the wedding than there was at the Saturday night rally. And the people still talk about that wedding. And this is where my wee lassie Katrina was dedicated to it. This was my life. This was where I lived, if you like. This is where I spent all my days. And I'm not ashamed to tell you, the last time I was here, it was a free breakfast with a man called Raymond McEwen. And the two of us stood up on that platform and preached to all these 300, 400 poor people. And the tears, because I knew it was the last, tears stripping down my face, just cried and cried. We couldn't believe that such a place like this had come to its, had come to an end. It broke my heart. And to see it now, it's absolutely tragic.
1955 and the Billy Graham Crusade in Glasgow's Kelvin Hall, where Bill joined hundreds of other Christians in helping new converts. By then he'd served in the Navy and, in spite of his limited education, trained as a nurse. And at one Billy Graham meeting, he believed God was asking him to go abroad as a missionary and nurse in Africa. But that meant a further course of study at Glasgow's Bible Training Institute, where one of his first lecturers was Jeff Grogan.
I think it was very difficult for Bill. He hadn't a great deal of educational background, but he tried hard, he worked hard. Certainly he failed some exams. I think some of them were mine, because theology is not the easiest of subjects. It's a marvelous subject, but it's not the easiest of subjects. But Bill worked away at it. There were people to help him. I tried to help him myself. Other members of the staff, particularly the principal, who was very fond of Bill, tried to help him. And other fellow students helped him. And you could gradually see him getting his head above water.
Well, I got quite a shock when I came to BTI and found out such a vast company of students, about 150 or whatever of us, and to my astounding amazement, lads who had come direct from Oxford and Cambridge University and then Wiltshire Willie for the Gallagate. And when Mr. Livingston got hold of me, he said, "Where have you been all your life?" because he gave us a wee practice to write a phrase, and of course my verbs, my nouns. I mean, I thought it was something for eating. And he really had so he was given permission to give a few of us who were really backward and really finding it hard a special lecture. And Mr. Macbeth asked them to give it very early in the morning to help us. And I've never thanked God for a man like Mr. Livingston.
Eventually, you qualified from the BTI, but there were more problems still, weren't there?
Yes, because all I thought I had to do now was jump in a boat and away I go. But he says, oh no, you're going to be a medical missionary in the Belgian Congo. Therefore, you have to go to Paris and learn the French language, and then go to the Prince Leopold School of Tropical Medicine in Antwerp and do a diploma in tropical medicine in French. And when the English teacher of the BTI college heard this, he held up his hands in horror. He says, this guy isn't getting English, how's he going to get French? So that was a real mountain.
Zaire, or the Belgian Congo as it was when Bill set off in the mid-60s, was a vast Central African state where many traditional ways of life survived, and where a strong Christian community had already been established. But following its independence in 1960, the new Republic of Congo had plunged into civil war, with rival factions vying for military control. It was a tense, dangerous and brutal place, and when Bill flew into what was then Stanleyville, he found himself surrounded by soldiers of the deposed Prime Minister, Patrice Lumumba.
They surrounded me with knives and spears and daggers and shouting and bawling at me in a language at that time I didn't know, Lingala. So to another missionary, I said, what's going on here? Oh, they're taking you away as a prisoner. A prisoner, what's the charge? He said, you're a Belgian spy. He said, you're willing for the galley, get a Belgian spy. I said, Scotch broth in the Congo, hurry up and get it over. Sure, I was for the pot that night. And I tell you, that was a horrific 24 hours. Because they were really wild, these boys. And it was thanks to the United Nations forces who were in Congo Zaire at that time that I got away. And then I hadn't been in the country long when I was taken prisoner again, this time for giving out anti-communist literature, gospel tracts. And then I went way up into the bush, into the Turi forest, where our hospital was. We had an area of 50,000 square miles, with 250,000 people, one doctor. And at home you can consult the other doctors. We were just on our own, and the doctor would read his British medical journals that would come out to him, and I'm glad to say, and I'm honoured to say, we never lost one case on the operating table all the time I was there, right in the heart of Africa.
Did you enjoy working in the bush?
Absolutely thrilled, absolutely thrilled. I've never enjoyed myself so much in all my life, especially when a doctor would put me in a Land Rover and stick me in the middle of nowhere and say to me, Gilvear, get on with it. Because I had to do children's vaccines and that, and he'd leave me. And I just lived off my Zairian friends. That was a great experience.
Did you feel that you had developed a great respect for them?
Oh, absolutely. Tremendous respect. In fact, I learned a lot more. I mean, in the Gallagate, in the tenements, because of the stew and dust, we never saw this guy. I'm telling you the truth. But see out there, you see the moon and the stars and all their splendour. And these Africans sat down and told me all about the stars. Because you see, that's their calendar. They can tell you what time of the year it is, what's going to happen and everything. So I learned an awful lot for them. And of course I learned all about hunting animals in the forest, and the things I learned from them was tremendous. Probably I got as much, if not more, out of them than they got out of me.
But as civil war raged, violence and bloodshed were never far away. He received a telegram saying his mother was dying, and with great difficulty secured an immediate flight to Glasgow. As he flew out, the rebels moved in and massacred everyone in the compound.
When I was able to allow to go back again, I made all the necessary inquiries. And my doctor, believe it or not, was actually operating on a Simba. And they took him away and killed him. And then he took his wife. And he had 3 lovely children. Gillian was 9, Alison 7, and wee Andrew was 3. And I loved these kids. Me and these kids used to come to my home on a Friday night. and they took them away. Then they took my station leader Hector McMillan from Canada. Then they took my midwife Ruby Gray from Northern Ireland. And the Zyrians told me, they said, you know, God was good because God gave them strength. They called me Bwana William, by the way. Bwana William was my name. They said, Bwana William, God seemed to give them a strength. And then he said they took Mr. Parry and they killed him. And they took his wife and killed him. They took his son and killed him into difficulty. But his lovely daughter Grace said, you just stay and be a prostitute with us. I said, what happened? She just cried and cried to him to let her go and die with her mother and father. And then what happened? They said from where they let her go, they let her walk down and killed her and threw her into the crocodile. She was singing. What? She was singing, Bwana William. What was she singing? We don't know. It was in your language, English. You know how the Africans are great with rhythm and music. Say, can you know, tell me what it was? And they hummed the tune and I got it right away. That wee lassie was singing a hymn that we used to often sing in the tent hall. Days are filled with sorrow and care. Hearts are lonely and drear. Burdens are lifted at Calvary. Jesus is very near. And she sang it right to her death.
You must have known a lot of grief at that time. Your mother had died and all your friends and colleagues.
Horrific grief. Horrific grief. And I wasn't at peace of mind or heart until they finally let me go back. While the Simbas were still there, and I had to go back. And when I went back, I don't know how many times, they nearly killed me. They caught me in a trap on the road one day. They were hiding up in the bamboo trees. They had Simbas up here, Simbas up there, firing down the big bamboo poles. And I was in a big Oxfam truck that I got, loaded with food and clothes and medicine, trying to get straight refugees. And they stopped us there and fired the guns, but my brakes didn't work. Smashed the barrier, got through, and here I am to tell you. And another night, they trapped me in a kind of motel, these are guys. They were firing the guns. And I just said my prayers in my Bible, and you know how sometimes you get an urge to do something. And I felt an urge to push my bed over towards the wall. I pushed my bed over towards the wall. I just got my knee in the bed. Quack, 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 3 bullets right through the window, right in the wall where my head would have been had I not moved my bed. In the morning I took a knife out, got these 3 bullets, and my law keeps them in Glasgow. I said, that was the nearest thing ever to death.
From Kamlaki Civil War to Congo Civil War, it's quite a story. Bill now works as Scottish Secretary of Scripture Gift Mission, an organisation producing and distributing Christian literature. So he's travelled a long way from those Gallowgate gangs.
I failed in the Navy. They were going to throw me out. Failed all my exams. They gave me another chance. I failed my primary nursing exams when in the Navy. They gave me another chance. I failed in my finals, RGM. They gave me another chance. It was a miracle that I was getting through it all, but it was tough. Classes all the time, put back, put back, put back. And that meant instead of doing my finals in 3 years, it was nearly 4. I kept failing all the time, but I persisted and went back and resat. And I think it's something like that that helps young people to realise, as I often say to them, all things work together for good to them that love God. All things, even sometimes your mistakes or failures, although you don't know at the time. I always tell them, don't spell that word disappointment with a D. Take the D away, put an H in its place, and then you've got to spell them, because it may seem a disappointment at the time, but when you look back, it was disappointment.